Samantha Bee's getting slammed for her comments about Ivanka Trump. Will her show survive? Pardon me? Controversial right-wing activist Dinesh D'Souza gets a presidential pardon. And Martha Stewart may be next. Is Trump sending a message to his team facing charges in the Russia investigation? Plus, Anna Navarro's back to guest co-host. The House of Hot Topics is in session with Joy Behar, Sarah Haynes, Paula Ferris, and Sunny Hostin. Now, let's get things started.
TGIF today, right?
Yes.
Okay, it's been a very, for some reason, even though we had Monday off, it's a very long week. A lot of stuff happened this week. My head is spinning. But Megan is, by the way, in Arizona with her family for the weekend, and back as guest co-host. Please welcome the always shy and reserved Anna Navarro. So I have to report that yet another comedian is in the crosshairs right now. I mean, it's just not ending. Samantha Bee, you know who she is, right? Well, she's getting slammed for calling Ivanka Trump, quote unquote, a feckless C word on her show. She apologized, but 2 advertisers have already bailed, and Trump is asking why she hasn't been fired for saying such horrible things. Well, he has yet to condemn Roseanne, just saying, and among other things that he has not apologized or condemned or anything. So my question to the assembled gorgeous women here, is this as bad as Roseanne's tweet, or not as bad, or the same?
No, you have to separate out racism. Like, racism is a completely separate beast. I think the joke was inappropriate. I didn't think it was funny. It wasn't. It was a little funny, like I could see where she was going, but that word for me,
was pretty
especially
vulgar.
with women using that against women, it wasn't right for me. But it was not racism, and I think that's what the president doesn't understand. There's a difference between homophobia. There's a difference between racism. Inappropriate language is something completely
But would you
different.
say that it's a misogynistic word? I will.
I just don't like the word.
In some senses. I think you just have to, we're in a totally different culture and a different climate these days. And I'm sorry, it's not funny. And so many comedians...
I don't know if she meant to be funny.
Well, okay, but it wasn't funny. I mean, there's a way to be funny. And you say as a comedian, there are no lines. There are no lines. There are only consequences. And I think there should be consequences. And as you said, racism is racism. There's no moral equivalency to what Roseanne did. But what makes this particularly egregious, if you think about it, this was scripted. This was pre-produced. It was produced. It was
a lot of people
produced.
had to have seen
It was
this.
in the can. It was approved by the network, and then it was broadcast. So then the network then used their platform to allow her to broadcast.
So should the show be...
So
then do you think the show should be canceled?
I think there have to be some consequences.
Look, the network has apologized for it. Samantha Bee has apologized for it. My issue is we're talking now about Samantha Bee, but we're not talking about Roseanne's racist comments about Valerie Jarrett. And this president has yet to come out and condemn those comments. That's what we should be talking about. I mean, he comes out against Colin Kaepernick. He comes out against Starbucks because they banned the Christmas cup. Why hasn't he come out about the 2 men what happened to the 2 black men at the Starbucks? Why hasn't he come out about that? So it seems to me that he wants to talk about everything but the actual racism that's going on in our country with African-American men.
I don't think he sees them as different. That's the problem here.
Oh, I think he sees them as very different. He doesn't care about African-Americans in this country.
That's part of the problem.
That's the problem.
He absolutely knows. Everybody can see that it is different, but this plays into his narrative of wanting to get rid of a foe. Trump likes people who are good to him, who suck up to him, like Roseanne, who support him, like Roseanne. He does not like people who confront him and who criticize him, like Sam Bee. So this is taking advantage of a mistake she made. And unlike Donald Trump and the people who work in his White House, she acknowledged the mistake, she apologized genuinely for the mistake, and she has regretted it.
But shouldn't there be be consequences? Does that mean you can say anything and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry," and there should be no consequences?
The consequences are that the advertisers pulled out, and that's the threat to the show.
And we're talking about it, and you've got women here saying, look, we find the C word offensive, but here's the problem. We've got a president who used the P word, who said he, went after women like a B word, who talked about Haiti and Africa. We are running out of alphabet letters.
On the air, by the way?
We are.
If it were a man who used this, would it be worse?
Yes.
So it's because
I think it's bad. I think they're. I don't like the word. I just don't think it's funny.
You know, it's funny.
It almost makes it worse because it's female on female
I don't
crime.
agree with that.
We're
I think
supposed
it's
to be
much
in it
worse
together as women.
when a man uses that word. It's like the word bitch. We can say it, but a man can't use it so easily.
But you go back to the same thing. Like, look, I don't like African Americans using the word N word.
Yeah,
I don't use it. I don't want anybody to use it. I don't like the C word. I don't think anybody should use it.
But but people are entitled to use words that belong to them.
But just to bring back one thing, Sonny, when you said, he doesn't care about black
He doesn't care about those issues.
But you know what? That's what I'm saying is I don't think he sees anything necessarily egregious about Roseanne's tweet as compared to some of these other things. I think he sees them all as just mean. Like, I don't think he sees, so he's actually blind to...
You say he's an unconscious racist or a conscious racist?
I'm saying he doesn't know the difference between racism and offensiveness, or I don't think he knows.
I think he very well knows.
Oh, well, he knows, Sarah.
It's all about him. Look, if Roseanne's tweet had been, instead of about Valerie Jarrett, about Sarah Huckabee Sanders or about Ivanka Trump, he would have raised a ruckus. We saw what happened to a comedian who made a joke about smoky eye makeup about Sarah Huckabee Sanders, right?
It wasn't just smoky eye makeup, though. That was also, she was diminishing her
Don't go
appearance.
after my makeup, whatever
She
you
was
do.
also diminishing her appearance, though, based on another character.
No,
from
that
the
was
show.
the appearance thing. If you know the character of the show, it was a joke about that character's
Aunt Lydia from
nature.
Yeah, she looks like Aunt Lydia.
No, not looks like Aunt Lydia. She was referencing her because if you know the show and who that
I watch
character...
the show every week.
Yeah, but the character's an awful character.
She's
That's what
awful
she's saying.
and she's not attractive.
But you noticing the attractive isn't what she intended.
But this is also an issue. This is also an issue because we're all interpreting it in different ways.
Well, why are you saying the woman's not attractive? To somebody, she's attractive.
I'm not saying Sarah isn't attractive. I'm saying Aunt Lydia. I'm saying
Aunt Lydia.
I'm saying Aunt Lydia.
I'm talking
about Aunt Lydia. We're talking about
not everything we shouldn't be talking about.
Estamos hablando de everything except the
4,500 deaths in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, we're not talking about the 4,500 deaths, and we're not talking about Donald Trump's just ignoring racism in our country.
Right. Well, we've said it.
Just
we've said
ignoring
it. I think we've said it quite a bit.
Look, the other thing
one of the things you and I were talking about this morning was the fact that this word that we can't say, obviously, is an acceptable word in the United Kingdom. Have you watched
really?
What's his name? Oh my God, the comedian. What's his name? Comedian.
Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais. That's it. Oh my
Good
God.
job, Sarah. Ding, ding, ding.
Uses the word about everybody, and if you watch British television, they use the word all the time.
The C word?
So and Canada probably doesn't think much of it, and she's a Canadian, this Samantha. I wonder if that played into it.
I will tell you, yesterday when I tweeted about this,
I don't think we
a bunch
make
of folks from
excuses for it.
Australia, a bunch of folks from Britain were saying to me, "What are you guys all turning yourselves into knots about? This is something we say all the time." I don't know.
Right.
That's interesting.
There's another one that they use that we don't like either.
about cigarettes.
Starts with a T.
Oh,
that's
there are plenty of them. There's one that
there's
starts with
another
an
one.
F, too.
Okay, you
Guys,
have
seriously, it's like Sesame Street up here.
Go ahead, Sonny.
I think we must mention that in addition to Samantha Bee, TBS also issued an apology but took no disciplinary action against the late night host. In a statement, TBS said Bee had taken the right course of action by apologizing for the vile and inappropriate language, saying, quote, "Those words should not have been aired. It was our mistake too, and we regret it." So you have apologies from Samantha Bee, from TBS, no apologies from the President of the United States.
Exactly, and that's what you're going to expect for the rest of his term. We'll be right back with more Hot Topics.
Still ahead, feminists fail? Why some people are furious about a New Boys t-shirt from J. Crew. Does it send a message kids aren't ready for? If you're in the white-hot center of the news, this is where you come to voice your view.
Character matters. Truth-telling matters.
Women are not going to be silenced. They're not going to be intimidated. They are going to speak their truth.
Because this is the only place in daytime.
This is the interview that meant the most to my wife, so thanks for...
Taking on the newsmakers.
What I do for a job doesn't impact my ability to know right from wrong or to tell the truth.
We're The View.
I take such pride in the idea that the president watches our show.
He sure watches the show.
Hello. On ABC.
Trump may want Samantha Bee to pay for what she did, but he's also letting some bad behavior off the hook. He just pardoned right-wing activist Dinesh D'Souza for campaign finance violations, and he's reportedly thinking about pardoning Apprentice alumni Rod Blagojevich, who was on this show many years ago.
Former governor of Illinois.
The former governor, and Martha Stewart, who are both tied, coincidentally, to James Comey.
He prosecuted those cases,
yes.
right?
Do you think he's sending a message to his pals that, like, Michael Cohen and Manafort and the rest of them?
Of course he is.
That, don't worry, don't talk, don't sing, my little canaries, because Daddy will pardon you. You think that's what's going on?
Well, you look at what they have in common. Blagojevich is a Democrat and Dinesh D'Souza is a Republican, so it's not necessarily political. But you're looking at some of the crimes that were committed: lying to investigators, obstruction of justice, and campaign finance violations. The WAPO has a really great article out today.
The Washington Post.
Yes, the Washington Post. Roger Stone says, quote, "This has to be a signal to Mike Flynn and Paul Manafort and even Robert Mueller. Indict people for crimes that don't pertain to the Russia collusion, and this is what could happen."
Yeah. It's sort of a dog whistle. I think what's incredible is, he's not consulting with the Office of Pardons. Actually, it's called the Office of Pardon Authority, which most presidents do. They're not required to, but there usually is this incredible process before you get a pardon, and people really politic to get these pardons. He's done them on his own without consultation. And if you look at Dinesh, he tweeted about Obama in 2015, "You can take the boy out of the ghetto. Watch this vulgar man show his stuff while Americans cower in embarrassment." He also promoted that false birther conspiracy. And in another controversial tweet, he referred to Obama as a grown-up Trayvon, referring to Trayvon Martin. He also said this, check this out. He tweeted this: "Overrated Democrats department. So Rosa Parks wouldn't sit in the back of the bus. That's all she did. So what's the big fuss?" So this is the man that Donald Trump decided to pardon.
Well, yeah, he's right on his page.
Okay.
But remember, he also pardoned earlier last year
Arpaio,
who was, accused of violating civil rights of African Americans and of Latinos.
But he
in
also
Arizona.
just pardoned Jack Johnson, a former black heavyweight boxer. He pardoned him.
I think there's a lot
He
of
had to
things
throw a
happening
bone.
here. I think this is like,
that's
like
right.
when the kid in the movie finds out he's got a superpower and he wants to use it on everyone.
Yes.
I think that's part of what you're seeing with that. Oh, look, I can make lightning out of my, come out of my fingers.
Yes.
So now, who does he use
thought of
it
that.
with? He uses it with famous people when celebrities come and ask and pitch him on it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that Kim Kardashian went and used her platform to really highlight a case that does deserve to be highlighted.
Yes.
A 63-year-old grandmother who's serving a life sentence for a first-time nonviolent drug crime.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, he
That-
hasn't pardoned her yet.
But that's
He
what
gave her
Kim
hope, though. She
Kardashian
said he gave her hope.
brought up. But it also is no coincidence that this is all happening in the midst of the Russia investigation.
Right.
And that a lot of his people, if they start singing and they start snitching and they start talking, he might end up
He
in
does
big
have
trouble.
that pardon power.
He's making his base happy with some of these
Right.
pardons,
Yeah.
like Dinesh, like Arpaio. He is sending a message to his people.
You say it's like
who might
lightning,
be,
he goes like that
and
and pardons.
he gets to
goes
use
like
the
that and he
superpower.
pardons.
Right.
But I
Crazy.
think that the first thing that ran through my head was this poor woman that's in prison, because we
Right.
just saw front page news,
Alice
and
Jones.
maybe the covers were because Kim Kardashian was there, but the story deserved to be told.
Yeah.
And this woman has served over 20 years, as you mentioned, for all of this, and I found it really offensive when he comes out the next day saying, "Oh, I can pardon," like you said, discovering a superpower, and he starts rattling off names. But this woman who's spent, again, stands to spend the rest of her life in there, is just being ignored. And if you heard anything in that meeting, did you not hear her story? Why are you speaking so freely about everyone else right now?
I don't think she's being ignored, because John Carl reported, our chief White House correspondent, he reported that the White House and the president is strongly considering pardoning her. And I think you mentioned the tie and the commonality is that there are so many celebrities, and senior White House officials are also saying there could be a dozen more that he's looking to pardon to. I don't think he's overlooking her. I just think the timing.
Is there some element in all of this where he's exacting some revenge from his enemies?
Absolutely.
Also,
I think
he's a
so.
very
That's why he ran
vindictive-
for president.
He's very vindictive,
And he's sending that message. I mean, why Blagojevich? Why D'Souza? They basically intentionally committed crimes, admitted to them, pled
the
guilty.
same crimes as the Russian investigators.
pled guilty, and were convicted.
Well-
so I don't understand why they are deemed worthy of a presidential
Also, someone like
pardon.
Martha Stewart is living a fabulous
She's doing
life.
fine.
She
Her
sold
and
her
Snoop
company
are
for
doing great.
$355 million.
So
Yeah,
why,
but
why,
I mean,
what is
when
it-
you're talking about commonalities, look, the president has wide leeway to grant pardons. That is one of his
But it's supposed to
superpowers.
go
It
through a
is.
process,
Now,
like
that-
she says.
Well, not
Yes.
necessarily, and I think that's
Generally
why
it
he
does.
likes
That's
it.
how most
Yes.
presidents do it, but this guy doesn't. Now,
Yeah.
what Dinesh D'Souza is getting pardoned for is campaign finance
Yeah,
reform,
right.
which is
Violations.
what
Yeah.
Michael Cohen
That's right.
might very possibly be facing. What Martha Stewart got pegged on was financial crimes,
Obstruction of justice.
which might be
Obstruction of
what
justice.
Manafort
Exactly.
It's
is
all
facing.
dog whistling.
And
Like a Nancy
lying
Cruz.
to lying to FBI investigators,
Yeah.
which is what Flynn is facing. So yes, there is a lot of
Dinesh,
some
comments.
this guy
Dog
Dinesh,
whistle.
though, he said some really vile things about Obama's mother. I mean, really, how
Vile.
low can you go when you're attacking somebody's? You curse my mother. That's like really.
Yeah.
In my neighborhood, you were dead if you said
I
that.
curse my mother or my children, and
You
you're
cursed
dead.
my mother.
I also think,
Hey, you guys, you know what?
before
Listen,
we put too much thought.
mean tweets is not a crime.
Yeah.
So I think that, we should not conflate the fact that he tweets horrible stuff about the Parkland kids, about other stuff.
Yeah.
So many other people do. That's not a crime. The crime we're talking about, we should be focusing on here, is the campaign finance violations.
Yeah, and I don't think we should overthink this too. I mean, Trump is a turnkey guy. He likes immediate results.
He's a what guy?
He's a turnkey kind of guy. He wants immediate results, and this is an area, as you said, he's supposed to go through the Department of Justice
He's
for this,
supposed to
but
do
he
that.
can literally
Just make it happen.
make this happen,
Sonny.
as opposed to everything else in Washington.
Yeah.
Pardon. All right,
That's a new thing that I
let's
missed.
go. Okay, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we have even more hot topics to talk about. We'll be right back.
On ABC.
Welcome back. So, apparently, there are some parents out there that are furious at J. Crew. Why? Because there's a boy's T-shirt that reads, "I am a feminist too." Yes.
Oh,
So-
somebody doesn't like that.
Yeah, okay. So they say that it's imposing a message on a kid that he's not ready for yet. But let me ask you something. Wouldn't any mom who'd buy this already be teaching their kid that feminism is a good thing? What's really the big deal of this?
Yeah, I don't understand the big deal. I mean, if a kid has a shirt that says "I am strong,"
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would say anything.
No.
If a kid has a shirt that says "Be kind" or "I am kind," I don't think anyone would have a
Do
problem
you
with
think that
it.
little kid can explain what a feminist is, though? Or no?
But what is a feminist? A feminist
No,
is...
but I'm saying that's not my question. Do you think that little kid?
Yes, I do. Because
Okay,
the
then answer my
definition of feminism is the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of the equality of the sexes. So boys and girls are the same. And I've always taught my children, boys and girls are the same. They deserve the same thing across the board. And so I have had that discussion with my son, and he says he is a feminist. And I think every man should
Your
be a
son
feminist.
is how old?
What's
that
wrong with
kid
it?
is 4.
My son would have known that when he was 4 years old.
I
No
don't listen-
question. It's not a bad word.
I don't think it's a bad shirt. I just think it should teenage. Unless you're able to really explain. I don't want my kids to be a mouthpiece for me if they don't know.
Don't tell me
you
that
know
your
what?
4-year-old doesn't know that boys and girls are equal.
No, he does, but he doesn't.
That's
he's
a
not-
feminist.
But he's. Come on, though, Sonny. Really? Do you think he's good? If I say, Landon, what is a feminist?
Landon pees on his brother.
Well, all Landon knows is a golden shower these days.
Listen,
So-
guys, let me tell you this. Until the
Why
kid,
is
can I say
Landon
this?
peeing
Until
on his
the
brother?
Because he's a boy. I don't know why boys do what they do, but I think it's funny.
All right,
Okay, but can we just, be pragmatic here?
Focus.
Unless the kid can buy his own T-shirt, he is an accessory for the mother, and he will put whatever the hell she buys.
Well, I don't agree with that.
Can we,
I don't agree with that. My kid My kids should not be my mouthpiece. I have a story for you. I grew up in a very conservative Christian home. Okay?
Yes, we know.
And my politics don't reflect my parents. And we went home.
Your parents are what?
My parents are
Liberal Democrats?
No. I said I grew up in a conservative Christian home. So I take my daughter home. I have 3 kids. I take my 10-year-old home a couple of months ago. And we pull in the driveway. I grew up in Michigan. And Caroline jumps out of the car and she sees on my parents, the back of the car, my mom and dad have a Trump bumper sticker. And she literally jumped out of the car and said she was going to rip it off of their car. And she says, Grandma in Jiddu, which is Arabic for grandpa, I'm very disappointed.
Jiddu?
Jiddu.
I like
yes,
that.
the tune Jiddu. And my parents looked at me and were like, what are you teaching her? And I'm like, listen, I am not teaching my kids one way or the other. We do not disparage politicians in our household. We're not going to disparage Trump. We're not going to disparage Obama. I want my kids to be free thinkers ideologically when it comes to politics. And so I just explained to them, listen, a lot of this, listen, we live in the Northeast. She's learning a lot of this at school, but I don't want my kids to be carbon copies of my politics. I want them to form their own political
I don't believe
opinions.
it's a good idea to have a kid pull something off somebody's property like that.
No, but I'm just saying, no, exactly. I don't
Wait, Joy, that's a crime.
That's what you took from that.
not to mention she might be losing her inheritance.
The bumper sticker is still intact. I did not allow it.
Why is
I don't
a
know
bad
why-
word?
It's not even that. I don't know why people put so much pressure on the company. You can turn out things. If you don't like it, don't buy it. This idea that everything has a backlash, like we're going to fire everyone, get rid of the shirt. Like we are a nation of differences. And so just don't buy the shirt. Like we don't really put a lot of, not logos, but sayings, because it used to drive Max crazy when he'd see the onesies that said, Mama's little man, or like, I'm a little gentleman. And he's like, let's just not do that. I was like, that's fine.
What if the kid wore it to school? Then it becomes another issue, doesn't it?
We brought
If the kid
I'm a
wore the
feminist
shirt
too.
to school.
Oh, wore the shirt
Yeah,
to
then
school.
it becomes an issue in the schools, because I've heard these stories before where the school gets the kid
That kid
expelled.
can't read, by the way.
All right,
my kid can't read the shirt. He shouldn't be wearing it.
Well,
why-
he's good in he's in
I just
nursery
don't understand
school.
when it has become a bad, why feminism is a bad word.
It's not. I think it speaks to the Shailene Woodley article about her just saying now she's embracing the term,
Yeah.
because she was saying, I understand the definition of feminism,
Yeah.
but it's a word that triggers people politically to jump to their side, even though people don't realize it's just equality.
The right wing has usurped the word feminism and liberal and made those dirty words. I'm proud of both of them.
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I don't think that saying you're a feminist speaks for all women.
Look, man,
though,
I'd
because
rather the kid be wearing
many things
I'm a feminist shirt than my mom went to Miami in this cheap T-shirt's all she got.
Yeah.
So I think it's great quality. Look, there's going to come a point where that child is going to have his own mind and is going to either refuse to wear the shirt or want to wear the shirt.
I'm in
right?
that-
like
I'm in
happened
that
to
world.
you, where
Give him a
is it going to be
choice.
at 7 or at 8 when he starts reading, when he starts comprehending, when he starts going to school, and people start making fun of him? At 4 years old, he's going to put on what I buy for him.
I can't buy my 12-year-old daughter anything. She says I have no fashion sense.
My grandson the other day,
Yes,
on
great fashion
Memorial Day, we were watching the memorial things, and he said, he's 7 years old. He said, I don't think Trump cares about the soldiers, do you? That's pretty advanced.
Was that on his shirt?
No, it wasn't on his shirt.
Trying to keep it on point, Joy.
No, I mean, kids are already absorbing
Yeah, they
plenty
do.
of politics and plenty of words like feminist and
absorb
others.
everything.
But you have to make sure that they're getting diverse views as well. I think we owe them that as parents and educators, to not give them just one ideology. I think they need to make their own choice, and the only way to truly make a choice is to have options and to hear every
And
side
you think
of the
because
story.
the kid's wearing a shirt, he's not going to be able to make a choice when he's...
No, but he's wearing the shirt for me.
Right.
He's not wearing the shirt for himself.
He's your accessory,
He
like a
can't-
chihuahua in
if he-
a
if he-
duffel bag.
Did you say
If he
Chihuahua?
can't read,
It's not
All
just
right,
can't
chihuahuas,
read,
you
We
guys.
have to go. Thank you for
Sacred
that.
space.
We'll come back with some more of this, believe it or not. Welcome back. So apparently men are still not getting the message of the Me Too movement. A Glamour magazine survey found that 1 in 2 men has never even heard of it. They've never even heard of it. Just this morning, one of our producers says that construction workers were making catcalls at her down the block here somewhere. And Anna thought it was a great. Anna, you were like, what street was that? So
it's been so long since anybody's done a cat call on me.
Yeah.
But look, we gotta be. Again, I go back to my pragmatic word. There's a difference between flirting. There's a difference between somebody, whistling at a woman walking by, and Harvey Weinstein showing up with a bathrobe and opening it up when when you show up.
Got a visual.
Yeah.
Well, how about you get the visual of him in front of the judge? That's a good visual.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That actually.
It's interesting because I drive my mom into work every day, and we parked, and I was walking, and these men were like, "Hey, what's up?" And
To your mom or to
me,
you?
and I was like, to me.
Your mom's hot, by the way.
My mom's gorgeous, but I was just like, enough already. Like, when does it stop? And my mom said to me, "It does stop, and you may miss it." And I thought, see, there are women in the audience that are like, and I thought it was so interesting because.
what miss what though? Hey,
Well, the
baby,
men were
hey,
like,
mommy, I want
yes,
you.
Basically,
I want to have a
basically,
baby
they were like,
with you.
"Mommy,
What?
you look good today." And I was literally like, "But I'm in sweatpants and a hat."
Why would you miss that?
I think there's a cultural aspect
she
to
thought
it,
it would miss it.
And at the risk of Hispanic women telling me that I'm stereotyping, look, when you grow up in a Hispanic culture, that kind of flirting is done much more than I think it's accepted in other cultures, and they got some good lines, Mami, si cocinas como caminas, hasta la raspa me comería. What was that? Honey, if you cook like you walk, I'd even eat the burnt rice.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I could get on board with that. I could get on board with that. But I think the clarification here is when I walk down the street and someone is admiring me or doing that, that's very different than being in a workplace.
Right. Yeah.
Where I'm uncomfortable and maybe my job's at stake, or I now have to show up and be face to face with someone that's done something like this.
Yeah.
Because these types of things are very different than a movement to say, let's take our power and our voice back. Let's make sure that we aren't being punished for also being victimized in the workplace. So I would separate the two because there are days where, depending on how they call that line, would totally work on me. By the way,
Yeah, that's a good one.
Do you burn your rice, by the way?
no, but using like lines like that or being clever or being cute, the ones that always bother me, and you, as a woman, I think you definitely know the difference when someone looks at you and you feel naked in front of them because they have this aggressive look up and down. There are differences between cute ones where a guy's like, "You're beautiful," or whistles or does that. I'm okay. It's the ones that their thoughts are really aggressive and you almost feel a little scared for a moment.
Yeah.
You know nothing's going to happen, but it makes you uncomfortable.
like that.
There's a difference between feeling scared and feeling flattered.
Yeah.
But I will say this, it is definitely open to interpretation. How I might take a man opening the door for me, and I feel like in this climate, I don't kill it, but you can see they're opening the door for you, and they're hesitant. I will say thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing that. And then they'll respond. Oh, I don't know how you're going to react. For instance,
that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I like my doors opened. I like my coat put on me. I like my chair pulled.
I do whatever you want to give me.
Yeah, but I don't need it from a man. A woman can open the door for me too, and I can open the door for a man.
But can a man compliment these days the way perhaps they used to be able to? If a man says "nice dress," I think they feel that they feel they cannot.
Nice
no, I feel like they're very hesitant.
Is he creepy, or is he just saying that's a nice dress?
I think
there's a difference.
I think because of the moment that we're in, it can be dangerous if you're at work, even and say nice dress, or if you're walking down the street, or it's you're someone that you see often that says nice dress. I think men are certainly. I don't know about these 1 and 2 men that don't even know the Me Too movement is going on. I mean, are they living under a rock?
Definitely not.
And it had nothing to do with education either.
Yeah,
a lot of these. This was one of the statistics that I thought was unbelievable. 59% of men said that they are entitled to have sex with their wives. The word entitled is in there.
I think that's why my husband got married.
Well, you have 2 babies.
I'm just kidding, Joy.
But I mean, I never know with you. I don't. But I mean, entitled? What is that?
No.
Entitled to have
That's
sex
ownership.
with your
Those
wife?
are probably the same.
Ownership
Well,
is right.
remember when there was a debate about whether there could be marital rape. Yes, there
right.
can
Yes,
be
of course.
marital rape.
Well, that's in the Cohen. Anybody hear those tapes that Michael Cohen had just come out?
Yeah.
And he says to the guy, there's no such thing as rape in a marriage. Cohen says
Right.
that. Yeah.
Ask
But
a
there is.
prosecutor
There
that.
is.
Yeah.
For historically.
On
there
that
has been.
note,
On that happy note, we'll be right back.
It's also in Big Little Lies.
Welcome back. So when last we were here, we were talking about how 59% of men surveyed in that Glamour survey said that they got married because they felt they were entitled to have sex with their wives, okay? So this one, Sarah's husband writes to her and says, as if I had to marry you to have sex with you, I barely had to buy you a drink.
I cannot believe Max said that.
Give Max some points. He is watching his wife and supporting her.
Supportive. Supportive.
And it was more than a drink. I hope your parents aren't watching.
I know,
Supportive.
me too.
Okay, actress and reality star Brigitte Nielsen just announced she is pregnant at the age of, wait for it, 54 years old.
Wow.
Now, I don't know about you, but by 54, I was in management, not labor, okay? Would you want a baby or to carry a baby at 54?
Yes.
Sonny, unequivocally.
Well, you're almost there.
I know.
Do you want another
Yeah.
baby?
I always wanted another baby. It's actually one
Manny's
of my
watching.
It was one of my life's regrets that I didn't have more children. You know, I'm an only child. I always dreamt of a really big family, but after we had the second, and you know, I had a lot of IVF struggles. My husband was like, "We got a boy, we got a girl. This has been really, really hard for us to get pregnant. I'm done." And so secretly, I have this wish that
Would you consider adoption?
I've always considered adoption. He just doesn't really want to have more children because we have really busy lives and we pour so much into our kids.
You're
And
never
I think it's I think it would be hard.
You pour so much into your hands.
And my hands.
And
I
she's
have
got
my
those
chickens.
But I think
She has
as women,
bees and she has dogs and she has a mother.
And my
as
have
women, we
orchids
talk
and they're all
ourselves out of
dying.
it.
Okay,
We
go
talk
ahead, one at a time.
But we talk ourselves out of it as women, and
Yeah.
I know I've always wanted 4 children.
I know.
I remember my friend Charity, who used to work with geriatric patients, so she worked with older people. She said the one resounding regret that most older folks had in the hospital wasn't having too many kids. It was that one kid that they didn't have.
Yeah.
And my husband and I actually, we had a miscarriage in the fall. I would have had the baby May 5th. And it was hard, but I've always wanted 4. We have 3 kids. I've always wanted 4 kids. And we're at that.
still do it.
I know. Have kids or it?
It.
Okay.
And kids.
And kids. But, you know, I'm going to be 43, and I'm at that point where I'm like, if I don't do it now.
Gotta do it.
And in a moment of honesty, the deterrent many times is your career. You're too busy. And I've never wanted to get to a point where I allowed my career to dictate my family.
Well,
decisions.
I think that's changing a little bit. Like my friend Eva Longoria, who we all know.
Yeah.
Is
like 40.
If she doesn't pop soon, I don't know what's going to happen. She's due in about 2 weeks.
Isn't she 40?
She's in her 40s, and this is her
40s.
first baby, and I think she wanted to get it done. And this woman's producing, this woman's hawking merchandise, she's doing everything. And
good for
it
her.
shows that, you know, you can still do it at a certain age, and you can still do it while being busy
I
if
think
you
it's
want to.
hopeful and it's beautiful to see the pictures.
You know, I'm going to leave the rest. That's other women. I had one. My daughter has one. Her husband was an only. We're from the only one child family, and we're fine. We're
she
fine.
said when I had my second, she goes, "Why are you doing that?"
Well, women are always complaining. Women are always complaining about mother. Oh, it's so much work. It's so stressful. It's so
Oh, but
depressing.
it's so much
It's so
fun.
crazy. And
It
then they
is.
have
It's so
another one.
rewarding.
I don't understand it.
I love it.
But I also think, Joy, in an instant, you know, just taking a page out of your own book, you gravitate towards what you know. And you're an only child.
That's
I'm the
right.
youngest of 4.
You're an only.
You're an only.
I know
but
a
you're
lot
the
of people who
exception.
cannot stand their siblings. I'm just saying. No, I do. I know so many people who don't speak to their sisters, who hate their brothers.
Some
who are
of
fighting
the siblings, not all of them.
Well, I know a lot of them. I know a lot.
Sarah, you're from 4.
I'm third of 4.
And you get
I am
along
not having
great.
4 children.
Okay, just
No.
put it out there.
If you want, you better
Joy's
tell.
been judging me since the first one.
I know.
so-
I mean, I know your husband thinks you're a slut, but you better check with him. So we have time for this? Yes. Actress Leah Remini got a lot of feedback from parents after she posted a text chat she had with her 13-year-old daughter. It reads, "Hey, Mommy, can you make me some breakfast? Hey, Mommy, yo, Mommy, what would you like, my love?" she says. super crispy turkey bacon with a buttered, almost burnt English muffin and fruit, please. What kind of fruit?
An array.
An array.
That's my favorite line.
An array.
I like
An
that.
array of fruit.
I
Wait,
love this kid.
she sent
I
this
do
from
too.
her bedroom?
Whatever.
She's a girl who knows what she wants.
Yeah, I
She's
like
how
her.
old?
And I like it.
13.
Okay, yeah, she needs to be making her own
My
breakfast.
sister's over 40, and she calls my parents downstairs when she wants breakfast and is visiting. So it happens.
Well,
But
that's the point of
visiting is
visiting your
different than
parents.
living
Right.
No,
there.
but you know, so often you ask a teenager, what do you want to eat? Whatever. Where do you want to go for dinner? Wherever.
That's what I
What do you
get.
want to do? Anything. I mean, this kid is so specific. I love this kid.
Very
Yeah.
And by the way, I think I actually live with this kid, except in the shape of a Cuban man.
You know what they say?
I like it.
You know what they say about that? You can only have as many children as you have breasts. So if you have a husband who acts like a baby, you can only have one child.
Well, that explains your decision.
There you go.
There you go.
We'll be right back.
Monday, a brand new View Your Deal. And from Roseanne's rant to NFL protests to the immigration battle, political analyst Michael Eric Dyson's getting real about America's racial divide and how we can unite to fight it.
Welcome back. Quickly, what are you planning to do this weekend, Anna?
Tomorrow, I'm going to be in Miami at the Moms Demand Action event to raise awareness for gun violence. It is Wear Orange weekend this weekend to raise awareness for that very important issue.
Okay.
So let's do it.
Quickly.
I'll be wearing orange, but I also have 4 new chickens, and I'll be tending to them.
Oh, God. All right.
I'm working weekend Good Morning America, and I'll
Yes.
be going to my kids' baseball games.
Okay.
I'm hoping to go to the Bubble Show.
The Bubble Show.
That's such a good show.
Right?
Yes.
And I will be not watching the news. Have a great day, everyone. Take a little time to enjoy the